Hello. So I am today live from Arizona, out traveling in between meetups. I hosted a meetup last Saturday in Denver and this Saturday in Scottsdale. I hope the acoustics in this room is not too echoey or I don't have all my equipment with me, trying the best I can, but I still wanted to come on here live and decided to do a Q&A because I think it's great throwing these in every once in a while, which will enable you all to ask questions and we can just really talk about topics that you're interested in. I am so passionate about these meetups because bringing together, oh, thanks, Tammy. She said it's okay. It's weird. It feels very echoey in here to me, but as long as you guys can hear. I don't have my microphone. I'm just using my laptop, and I did remember to bring some lighting, so I don't have, I'm not totally scrapping it here. So in some exciting news, because as you know, I am really, I'm passionate about a lot of things in this carnivore community because I can just feel it from inside how this is spreading and how the word is getting out of the truth of health and how to go about it and to stop taking a pill for every ill and patching things, you're just patching symptoms with medications and understanding there's a root cause to all of this. And basically it comes down to the garbage food that we've been feeding ourselves because it was all so normalized and even some toxic foods pushed on us. Do you remember? I don't know if you're as old as I am, but the days of getting pushed on margarine and don't eat butter, here's margarine. And gosh, horrible, horrible. I mean, we could all cringe at the whole narrative that's been coming down. So what I was thinking about through this whole little journey of meetup I'm doing on this trip, which is out in Denver, was amazing. And so many people are feeling that same magic when you walk away of feeling so empowered to be around others who are like-minded, who eat like us, who have researched and determined that this is really an amazing, healthy way to heal our bodies and to hopefully live long, healthy lives. And so there was discussion about how we really need to have a centralized place to be able to find these meetups instead of just haphazard. I have one and post about it. Maybe somebody else posts about my meetup and other people hear about it, or some people aren't on that platform and they're only on this platform. And it just seems too wishy-washy. So I just today purchased the domain carnivoremeetups.com. And I'm going to attempt to host a website where anybody and everybody who's going to have a meetup can write to me, and I will post. You just send a graphic and the info, and I'll get the information up. And if we get enough people to know about this website, it will be a great central place that people can bookmark and just check every so often and see if and when there's a meetup at a place near you or where you're traveling to or where you want to travel to. So that's just a kind of an exciting thing coming down the pike to try to make this whole thing more cohesive. All right, so let's go look at, I'm going to go into the chat, and so let's see. Tim Shell Leo says, hi, Dr. Lee says it's safe to do it yourself, express my meibomian using this special device made for that purpose. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I saw your message like literally about 60 seconds before I hit the live button. So I went on to my laptop here, and you can see there are a number of different devices that are used to express meibomian glands. Some of them I'm not so sure are too easy to do on your own. And some of them might be actually very doable, but I'm not sure what you're referring to as to what you have. Something as simple as pulling the lid down and putting a Q-tip swab on the inside and a Q-tip swab on the outside of the lid and actually pressing can express the meibomian glands. But realistically, ultimately, we have to get to the root cause and not need to express the meibomian glands, right? But I get it. If you're at that stages now where you need to wait it out and clean up the diet for 6 months to a year, I'd say at a minimum to get that at the point where it is showing some improvement. It might, I always say it just helps to do those hot compresses. And yeah, if you have some sort of meibomian expressor and you feel it's safe and easy enough for you to do, I don't see anything wrong with it. So, all right, let's see. Liz is in London, Ontario, Canada. So yeah, I'm going to be hopefully at some point getting up to Canada and doing Meetups International, right? I was going to get World Carnivore Meetup, or I have all sorts of different ideas of the domain to get, but I just decided on carnivoremeetups.com. Becky's in Ohio. Hello. I'm going to throw over this question here. Can carnivore reverse eye pressures? So I'm assuming, Shelley, you're talking about reversing elevated eye pressure because we need pressure in our eyes. Pressure is good because the solid pressure in our eyes is what keeps the shape of our eyes. And normal pressure runs from about 10 to 22. And pressure varies throughout the day. It's highest in the morning, goes down in the evening, back up in the morning. That's normal diurnal variation. I'm assuming when you say reverse eye pressures is like maybe consistent high readings that you're getting at the eye doctor. And yes, if you saw my live, I guess maybe it was, I can't remember now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did it on the reported effects of carnivore diet on various eye conditions. And so I did go into, there was a section up there on glaucoma, and I've had people report their diagnosis of glaucoma suspect or early glaucoma actually reversing. So, okay, a couple people out there in Ohio. Patrice Brown's in Fairborn. I don't know where Becky is in Ohio, but I did have an Ohio meetup already in Columbus. So, I have this goal to have a meetup in every state, and I have already hit Ohio, but my cousin lives in Ohio. And so there's chances that there will be more in Ohio. Glenda's in Texas. Hello, Glenda and Marisa in, Perth, Australia. Thank you so much all for joining. Let's see, let's go. I'm going to try to hit as many questions as I can. Gallbladder removed, having trouble digesting anything. Any suggestions? Okay, Sue, so there's a lot of questions as far as what was your diet like prior to the gallbladder removal? I'm assuming there was issues that necessitated the gallbladder removal. So yeah, I'd say initially you're just going to have to go a little bit lower fat. Your body will actually adapt to not having a gallbladder, and there will be some ancillary ducts that will take over, and in an amazing way our body knows what to do. Now, for anybody who specifically writes to me messages and asks this kind of question, what my answer normally is, aside from doing some of the work for you, but you go to YouTube, in the search box, type in carnivore gallbladder, just those 2 words. It's going to pull up probably at least 15 different videos, and binge watch them all and soak in as much information as you can, because it will be anywhere from somebody like Dr. Berry doing a video on it all the way down to some random people who are journaling on YouTube their experience with carnivore and will have an issue, let's say, with no gallbladder and talk about it. So I think it's just really important that we all understand there's no manual on this. There's no definitive answer or troubleshooting guide, step by step, no gallbladder, carnivore, how are we doing this? So go low fat at the beginning and just kind of gradually increase. I have a friend who has no gallbladder and has been carnivore for 15 years. So anybody who tells you you can't go carnivore without a gallbladder is sadly mistaken. I think Kelly Hogan has no gallbladder. Trying to think of who else. I don't know. Don't quote me on any of this, but I can just tell you, if you persevere, try to tweak things, figure it out, and go down the rabbit hole on YouTube with it. Okay. Oh, North Jersey, Mia. Joanne, she's in Jersey, good. She's in Jersey also. She says, the sound is good. Wow, New Hampshire, Kim Lynch. Okay, let's pull over another. I have stalled and have tried high protein, lower fat. Wait, I don't know, your question got cut off, Liz, but so I'm assuming you're stalling on your weight loss. And you've tried high protein, low fat, meaning sort of that PSMF, protein sparing modified fat, which basically is doing adequate protein, but just on certain days, pulling down the fat. What does this do? Effectively, it reduces calories. And we all know we have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. We're not going to lose weight when we're taking in more calories than we're expending. So there's going to have to be a combination of things that you do, and look into all sorts of things like, the whole diurnal, circadian, sunshine, getting out in the sun in the morning, even if it's opening a door, opening a window and facing out toward the east. Doesn't have to be direct sunshine, could be trees, mountains, buildings in the way. Get sunlight in your eyes in the morning. We're trying to really work on our circadian rhythm, our cortisol, our leptin, and all those things can help with weight issues. And then walking is so good. It gets you outside in the fresh air, and it does really burn a lot of calories. Try to set yourself up to say, I'm going to do 10,000 steps a day, every single day, and make a commitment to it. Depends on how committed you are to wanting to drop the weight. It's not easy to stay consistent and stay committed. And if we keep doing what we've been doing, then we will stay where we were at. So I do have my Carb Sober Holiday Challenge coming up starting next week. So if any of you are, I do see a lot of names in here, people who are already signed up for that. And it is going, I'm preparing the very lengthy welcome email now with the whole protocol that I am going to really, I want to say dictate on you. It's not dictating anything about what you do and don't eat. That's going to be up to you, but it is going to be specifically laid out how you're going to determine that, and a number of different challenges you're going to give to yourself to be able to make it through this next 120. Let's call it, the next 120 days are usually brutal for those of us who slip in and out of the carb, sugar, processed food ditch. And the fact that I have finally figured out, well, for many people, it's a long process, and it didn't happen quickly for me. I suffered for 30 years of a very, very significant carb and sugar addiction. And I want to be such a huge, big support entity for everybody who wants to put in the effort to make it through this holiday season without slipping and without binging and without giving ourselves permission or making excuses or letting somebody else pressure you into, oh, come on, you only live once. You got to have a piece. No, I don't, actually. And when you're an addict, until you actually really admit that abstinence is the way, moderation isn't good. There's no way I'm going to give myself permission to have one Christmas sugar cookie or one Reese's peanut butter cup at Halloween or one bite of apple pie. No such thing for me. And if any of you are out there who feel like you can moderate that and feel like you're okay with that, then have at it. But I'm going to guess you're probably not exactly at that spot where you want to be, health-wise and weight-wise, and to really take serious consideration as to how this happens, especially during the holiday season, and why. And to have an amazing support group with accountability and weekly meetings and 24/7 chat in between with others doing the same thing is hopefully going to be a life-changing experience for very many of you, those that are willing to put in the work. Okay. And I will put a link down into the groups. There's a few openings in each of the time slots, and I'd love to have you. I keep the groups small so that everybody has opportunity to ask questions and talk and at every single meeting. Yeah, the push to eat canola oil. I know, Christine, that's horrible. Sherry is in Leesburg, Florida. I know Florida's getting ready to battle a little bit of a storm. Let's see. Kathy is in Orange County, New York. So she says, I admire your ability to eat only meat. I can't do it fully yet. So it really comes down to your motivation and your desire and what is your why that makes you cry and how badly do you feel you need to make a change from your current situation. And if you're somebody who can, let's say you're down to meat, eggs, and salad, and you're getting healthier and you're feeling good and you're avoiding salad dressing because we know those seed oils are the devil. But so let's just say, let me back up. Maybe it's meat and seafood and eggs and avocado and sauerkraut and yogurt. I don't know. I don't know what people's versions of I can't do it fully yet really means, unless it means I got to have my peanut butter and pretzels and bread sometimes. I don't know what that fully means for you, but if you're doing it that other version I just described, that's not fully carnivore, but certainly could be very healthy. I'm not at all dogmatic about specifically adhering extremely strictly to carnivore. This is all about figuring out what works for you and what's going to be sustainable and gives you good energy, makes you have that pep in your step because your body is getting down to a lean body weight, you're off medication. And where is that for you? I don't know. We're going to talk about that in my groups as far as if you saw my video, I guess it was last week, the Sober Circles video on staying out of the ditch. You will be coming up with your own exact food plan of foods that you've determined are extremely healthy and foods that you have sober behavior around. Because even though a food might be healthy, such as bacon, we might overeat bacon. And so we have to just make parameters around certain foods to get to our goals. And we will talk about that at length. So, all right. Larry says, if you think it's butter, but it's not. Okay. Let's look here. Simon Gibbs says, I have a deposit in my eye. Looks like a pterygium. Can going carnivore clear it up? Oh, it's Sarah. Okay. Good question. I am going to tell you in all honesty, I have not yet had anybody report a pterygium clearing up. I don't know if that's an impossibility. I have no idea. I certainly, as an eye doctor, have not diagnosed a pterygium and told that person to give this incredibly healthy but different way of eating a try, to see if they'll come back 6 months later actually listening to me, just to see if this little tiny, so pterygium, if anybody doesn't know, is just it's a bit of a growth on the eye. I'm going to pull it up here. And it can come from just working in very windy, dirty, like construction workers, where there's dust and soot and, debris flying around, and it will form this, hang on here, this tissue that comes across, and it can be subtle, like you see over here, or more dramatic over here. When it starts impinging on the, what we call the pupillary axis, starts coming over onto the pupil, then that one becomes a little more of a concern, because it can start affecting the vision. And there is a surgical procedure to remove it. They tend to actually come back, not all the time, but so that's not a go-to surgical intervention at first. And as long as they stay non-inflamed and not growing, we'll leave them alone. Might just need some lubricant teardrops if that uneven surface causes some dry spots. But Sarah, I certainly hope you report to me if you go carnivore and yours reverses, reduces, or actually like totally goes away. That would be an amazing information to have. So keep me posted, Sarah. Let's see. Cindy Bonk, my friend, hello, from Jupiter, Florida. And let me pull over. She says, when you weigh your meat, do you weigh it after it's cooked? I bought a 1/4 pound burger from McDonald's, and it only weighs 2.6 ounces after they've grilled it. So yeah, when they tell you it's a 1/4 pounder, it's a 1/4 pound, so 4 ounces of raw ground beef that they cook, and it shrinks to 2.6 because there is a certain amount of both water and fat that will cook out of the meat. So I will tell you what I do, and people do different things, but I weigh my meat, like if I'm at home and I'm tracking, I weigh it raw. And so if it's a, let's say, 8 ounce or 10 ounce block of ground beef, it's raw. And then I cook it and I eat it, and I track it on the, I use my net diary. I track it as I just put in whatever, 85-15, 80-20, whatever it was, ground beef. I just put it in. Ultimately, does it really matter? It would matter as far as being exactly specific to get the exact parameters of macros, but we're not looking for that. We're looking for, if you consistently do the same thing all the time, which is measure it raw, eat it, and track it, you're really going along with information. And so I'll know that 8 ounces is this macro, and it's allowing me to drop 1/2 pound a week every week. And that's the information we use. We use the information based on what we measure. Now, if you were weighing it sometimes raw and sometimes cooked, that would be a problem. Then you're not being consistent. But you really just want to get the information that you're going to be able to, over time, use that information to either increase it, decrease it from what it is, raw, cooked, doesn't matter. So I say for that kind of thing, don't overthink it. If I'm trying to think, I very, very occasionally will have McDonald's burgers. I happen to really like them, and I happen to feel they're perfectly fine. It's just that I'm not out and about and eating that kind of meal too often. But when I think about it, well, you know what I do? I'm pretty sure in my tracker app, I can put in McDonald's quarter pound patty. I think I can have it just as a separate patty on my thing. So, um, but yeah, that would be quarter pound raw that we are putting in there, listing it as the raw weight. But yeah, don't overthink that. Just ignore that whole thing. As long as you're consistently doing it the same way, and like, what do you do for bacon? Do you weigh your bacon, or do you just put, like the tracker app says, 1 slice, 2 slice, 5 slice, 8 slices? But I'm not weighing it raw and then typing in raw bacon and putting that in here. Here's the thing. Number one, how much are you cooking it? Do you like it really well done? So a lot of the fat's cooked out, and that makes a big difference as opposed to what you might actually be tracking in the tracker. Also, your particular piece of bacon. How fatty is it? How lean is it? So we can't overthink these things, and we're just using this as a tool for in general. At like, if you're just consistent, I happen to love Aldi ground beef, and if you just you type in the word ALDI at least on my tracker app, it'll come up Aldi, and I'll type the word 80 or 85, whatever the ground beef percentage I bought, comes right up in there. It's very consistent, and I don't have to worry about whether I weighed it and tracked it raw or cooked. All right, let's see. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Christine. So Christine would like me to make it out to Washington sometime. So that was actually one of my instigating factors of this whole thought process. I've had 2 or 3, maybe 4 different people, I'll just say, in the Pacific Northwest. I'm not really even sure I know that's Oregon, Washington, and Northern California, I think, is what constitutes the PNW. But there is a group out there that did host a meetup, and they have a Pacific PNW carnivores group, I think. But each time this came up or somebody asked me about that, I just directed them to somebody who I knew was in the group, Jackie Jam on Instagram. She's the Pacific Northwest contact that I know of. So, but yeah, I would just love it so that there is this central place where people can feel pretty confident to go to, as long as it gets spread enough that people know to report their meetup to me so I can get it on the website. But I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that this ends up being a really great idea. Okay, let me pull over. Liz says, dealing with a weight stall. Tried the high protein, low fat, yet the scale still doesn't move. Also haven't been able to go to the bathroom for over a week. All right, so all of this, there's a lot of different factors in this. How long have you been carnivore? How old are you? What are your macros as far as percent fat? Trying high protein, low fat depends. If you crank in a ton of calories and you don't get much movement in, there's a good chance the scale's not going to move. Let's go back to the bathroom issue. As long as you're not feeling uncomfortable, distended, bloated, and in pain in any way, that's not called constipation. That's just called your body's not ready to go to the bathroom yet. And we have, I always say, I just trust my body's going to evacuate when it needs to, and it's not going to back up and stay backed up. I mean, I know there are some serious issues, and I know some people have serious issues, so I don't make light of that. And if you've had digestive issues in the past, then that might be something that is kind of rearing its ugly head at you. But I would temporarily, do a couple fat fast days. That when you get hungry, you either eat pork cracklings, beef trimmings in the air fryer, or butter. Brown butter bites are really awesome right out of the freezer. And when you get hungry, eat some fat. One of my other favorite things is you get a nice thermal mug, like even one of these, but one of these maybe with a handle, piping hot water, Redmond seasoned salt, and 2 or 3 tablespoons of butter. This is my whisker over here, my rechargeable frothing whisker, frother, let's just call it a frother. Oh my gosh, that is heavenly. It's so delicious. You can do bone broth if you want instead of the other version of my what I call salty soup. It's so good, buttery salty soup. But that's a great way to get some fat in and see what the bathroom does. And then you're going to have to really do a lot of further, searching for what's going to work for you, tweaking things to get the scale to move, because absolutely you will. I have had people in my groups that came into my summer weight loss challenge having been at a 1 and 2 year, that long of a stall, and have lost 12 to 28 pounds in the past 3 months in the group. So there's things that you can do, and join into the group and talk with me every week. Okay. Carrie, oh my gosh, look at this. Carrie is 577 days, no coffee or caffeine as of today. Amazing. I am definitely, I know I've said this in the past, but I have not gotten to the coffee YouTube video yet, but it is going to be epic. And just understand, it is one of the most widely abused drugs of all time. It's not a health food. And don't think for 1 second, just because everybody around you is lined up at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks, or, queuing up their cup under their Keurig machine every morning, or their drip coffee pot, that this is appropriate for good health. This is a seed. It's not a coffee bean. It's actually a seed that's burnt and crushed, and boiling water is poured through it. And then you bathe your entire microbiome with this every day, usually multiple times a day. And I just say, if you have any sort of health issues whatsoever, you need to think very seriously about grasping on for dear life to your cup of coffee. There's a lot of things we can do to replace that ritual. And that will be also in my video when I get it out. But Carrie, I am thrilled for you. And I love it when people write to me and say that I was the one that instigated them to actually attempt it and tried it, and that they have never been happier being free of that addiction. It's, when you think about it, it's like you literally have to tend to that every day, because you're coming off a withdrawal. You feel slumpy. You feel like you're dragging. And when you're not on caffeine, just all the time you feel great. And there's no back and forth with going through withdrawal and getting the psychotropic effects of the drug. And I know it's not a very popular opinion at all, but I stand my ground. Let's see. Kathy Marshall watched my exercise video and doing those weightlifting slowly as I suggest. Kathy, I can't be happier. I have so many people writing similar, that that video and my encouragement has been instrumental in getting people to realize that this is really not that difficult. When you're doing it for the 30 minutes twice a week, that's all it is. When you're doing it, yeah, you're putting in an effort, and with good reason, because this is the whole purpose of this, is to actually really stress and strain our muscles so that they are signaled to build up. We do not want to keep weakening over time, which is what happens if we don't do anything, sarcopenia. And we want to be strong. We want to be able to take on the zombie apocalypse that's coming. Be prepared. But I'm so happy, Kathy. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. Let me keep scrolling through these. Hello from Texas. Have you done an episode on dry eyes? So no, I did not yet do an episode on dry eyes, but that is coming soon. And for those of you who are here on my regular Carnivore Doctor channel, I just started last week a new channel, Carnivore Eye Doctor, and I'm putting all my vision and ocular health videos on that channel. I'll put a link to that in these notes after I get off of here. I'd love for you to come over and join me there, because that's where I'm going to put all the eye related ones, because I just wanted to try to segment off the topic so that people who come to me with the desire to learn about their eyes and eye health, that they follow me for an extended amount of videos, live and recorded, all about different aspects of their eyes. So, but that is coming. That's one of the top 5 that are out there. I'm going to do one about swollen, puffy eye bags and dark circles under the eyes, because a lot of people get that protrusion, and there's a lot of information to understand about that, because people just want to know how to get rid of it, but you have to understand exactly what it is too. Okay, let's see. Pamela says, I wanted to join your meetup in Scottsdale this Saturday, but I can't find the info. Oh, it's out there. Okay, I will definitely put the link as soon as I get off of here. It is, yeah, it's still open. I haven't cut it off as a sold out number yet, because I didn't get a number from the restaurant. I did reserve a private room, and I think we are at 35 people. So I'm going to take at least up to 50, if that many, because now we're running out of time. We're at Tuesday. We've got 3 days before the Saturday meetup, but that would be great, Pamela. I'd love to have you join us. And as soon as I get off here, I will put the link. It's also, if you're on Instagram, the link is in my bio for that too, but I will put it here in the show notes. Okay, Jackie asked, will I be posting a video on my slow burn workout? I think I will. I know here's the thing with that. So, I did 2 slow burn workout YouTube videos, one where it messed up when Fred Hahn was supposed to come on and there was a very major technical glitch. And then the following week when I did have him on, but I hesitate to do it, only because number one, I have to find a time in the gym, because I do my workouts at Planet Fitness, and I think it would be really good to do it there. But so finding a time where it's as empty as possible. And then I'm thinking, gosh, in my mind, this is going to be a very boring video, because here I am. No, I'm serious, guys. This is how slow you go. And I keep going until it's going to be about 60 to 90 seconds before I get to that point where I am just not able to move it anymore. And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know how well watched that video is going to be, but maybe what I could do is do a quick sweep through each of the machines that I typically do, and just show how I set the seat. And it doesn't matter what weight I use versus you use. We all have to figure out what weight is the weight that currently causes us to fail between 60 and 90 seconds. But maybe what I could do is do just go around to the machines that I use and show options of what I might do on certain days over others. And that might be really valuable. So yes, Jackie, in answer to your question, yeah. Okay, do you supplement magnesium? That is such a big topic of here's the issue with supplements in general. I get it that the one school of thought is our food system, our earth now has been depleted of certain things, and supposedly maybe the cattle eating certain grass that might be depleted of certain minerals and nutrients, that we're not getting as much now as maybe what was intended originally. I have a lot of thought as far as our bodies are such a fine-tuned machine. And if we start putting in supplements, and let's just take electrolytes for the example. I do not use electrolytes. I think to myself, if I'm intaking extra sodium and potassium and magnesium, and my body will compensate by shutting down the process of its own regulation of it, or it will have to compensate based on getting this influx of these electrolytes. Because again, our bodies run within a very narrow range, like of glucose, of so many different things that, I don't know, I just feel like, why am I throwing this in the mix? Why am I not trusting that my body knows what to do? Like the body's blood pH, like I don't eat, because people say, oh, that diet is too acidic. It's not good. Don't you know about pH? I'm like, yeah, I do. And our body, like, it can go from this low to this high of pH, and that's it. And it knows exactly how to get back in there, no matter what you're inputting. And so, yeah, that's my thought on supplementation in general. Do I think maybe somebody who has, a lot of sleep issues, and you learn that these 3 things are very good for trying to improve sleep? I think maybe it's worth a temporary go at seeing if you consistently do those 3 things, what is the outcome on your sleep quality? In general, though, I really like to feel that, yeah, we don't need anything. I love to say that I'm not selling keto chow, and I'm not selling electrolytes, and I'm not, no, I want people to hopefully grasp that concept that we can be healthy. We just have to remove all the toxins, and getting the seed oils out, getting the grains, getting the processed foods, getting the inflammatory sugar, getting that out. I trust that my body is here to evolve. It's not here to be led into a diseased state. It wants to evolve. That's part of evolution. So yeah, that's my thought on it. For now, I mean, I have an open mind, and I know there's all sorts of books on this and all sorts of things out there, but also I just encourage you all to really look at what that person is selling, and not that they're all snake salesmen and shysters and they just want your money. I'm not saying that either, but I said enough on that. I have my view on it right now. And okay, let's see. I'm going to keep scrolling. Hi, Heather in Odessa, Texas, Wisconsin, Mr. Big Sexy 11, Alaska, Angela. Boy, I've not been to Alaska yet. That definitely is on the bucket list. So we will definitely be having a meetup there when I hit Alaska. Let's see. Yeah, Pamela, very hot Arizona. I think it was about 4 p.m. before I started this, and it was 111 out there. But it's dry. That's but it's dry. Okay, let's see. Barbara had a quadruple bypass and saw my interview with another doctor, was thinking to try it. Northern New York. Okay. Yeah, gosh, Barbara, had you only known about this way of eating so many decades ago, all of us who are in this and understand how life-changing and incredible this is, wish we found it earlier. You wouldn't have the quadruple bypass because you wouldn't have needed it. But just in decades of eating what we do, mayonnaise, salad dressing, crackers, all of the processed foods, French fries in a restaurant, restaurants use seed oils like ridiculous amounts. And our diet has become about 20 to 25% of the inflammatory levels of fat, the linoleic acid, and it should be down at 2 or 3% is what is in an actual natural diet. So really crazy that we were told to eat margarine and to avoid butter and to not eat fatty red meat, which is the opposite of what we should be doing. And Barbara, I am going to, before I pull your question off of here, going to say one last thing. Go listen to Dr. Philip Ovadia. He's a cardiologist who eats this way. And let's see, there's Nadar Ali, Brett Scher. These are cardiologists who are in this niche of low carb, carnivore, keto. I believe Dr. Ovadia himself does eat carnivore. You have to imagine that these heart surgeons are not taking their heart health lightly. And if they thought for one tiny nanosecond that there was any damage to their cardiovascular system by eating this way, they wouldn't. So I am very happy that this has been happening, where different people who had their own why that made them cry. Dr. Ovadia was overweight and out of shape. I can't tell you how many patients of mine, I've had cardiologists sitting in my exam chair, and I just look and I think to myself, oh my gosh, like obese and so metabolically not healthy. I can't imagine that physician is feeding their body correctly. And so, yeah, Dr. Ovadia turned his life around with figuring it out. And yeah, amazing. Let's see. Let me go. I'm going to hit a couple more questions and then I'm going to go because I'm on vacation. I'm trying to, but I'm actually really working remotely, and but it's dinner time here. So, okay. So Barbara, your heart specialist told you not to do it. And to that, I say, get a new heart specialist. Contact Dr. Ovadia. He does telemedicine calls. And go down the rabbit hole on so many different physicians and heart specialists. Who else? Is that guy Jamnatis? I think he's a cardiologist too. Is that his name? Jamnides? Prana Jamnides. He is a physician, a cardiologist. Now, he mainly promotes totally wiping out all processed food, seed oils, sugars, grains, and he also promotes some fasting. He's not full carnivore himself, but he's at least a sound of reason. I mean, honestly, if you want to, Barbara, if you want to eat carnivore and include a little bit of, I don't know, sweet potato and asparagus or some sort of vegetable, fine. The issue really is your heart specialist probably wants you to eat low fat, like boneless, skinless chicken breast and fish, lean fish. And I say, I'm not giving you medical advice here, but no, that's not the proper human diet. But you have to determine that for yourself. You have to research this. I think you should stay up till at least 10 every night researching this, and then wake up and have a schedule of what you're going to look up and look into. And you will see that a low LDL cholesterol is a higher death rate. We don't want to lower our LDL. We really don't. A total cholesterol between 200 and 300 is really healthy and shows the lowest mortality rate. There's so much information that's going to go down in history as the biggest myth and the biggest con job of the pharmaceutical industry ever. But we all have to come to it on our own, really kind of riding our own coattails as far as figuring out the information that is out there, but is stifled, and it is censored by pharmaceutical industry, by big food industry, by the healthcare industry, because that does not make anybody money, doesn't make them any money when we get healthy by eating fatty red meat and drinking water. So I'll leave it at that. I know it's a tough, very tough topic. It's one of the most frustrating things for me, because I just so wish that people, there's no way around it, because the information's not out there. You have to find it through the internet, through watching the videos, and a lot of it is censored. I'm glad at least I'm not censored yet. I mean, that could come too. I don't have ownership of my channel here. I don't have ownership of my Instagram channel, and it's just, we just never know. But the information is there. Let's see, what is this? Ron's Keto Cafe. Let's read this. I'm starting carnivore next month, 4 days a week, and keto. We are returning to school at the age of 67 to college. Yikes. And I'm nuts. Yeah. So I think that was just a repeat message there. Yeah. Welcome to the Fly the Freak Flag Club. All right. So let's see. Jeannie says, yes, that's my goal, to stay out of that ditch from now on. Yeah, I got to draw a line in the sand, and you have to understand that with that, it's consistency and abstinence and support and community, and it's possible. It's really possible. I mean, I was on my way to literally killing myself with my addiction, and it is so amazingly, people say, well, that's just too restrictive. I couldn't possibly eat meat every day. I couldn't eat meat all the time. Is that all you do? Don't you get bored? I'm like, no, it is the most incredibly freeing, wonderful thing that has ever happened to me. And I only wish it on anybody else who is been going through the yo-yo that I have. I mean, you all know we've gone from cabbage soup diet to Weight Watchers to Slim Fast to Jenny Craig to Brightline to Gray Sheets to, I don't know, Atkins, you name it. Atkins was really spot on, except for the climbing the carb ladder after you did your 2 weeks of induction. So we basically just stay on induction. Let's see. Crypto Heidi says, love your videos. I am new. Well, welcome. So for anybody here brand new to me and my channel, I am 58 years old. I am an eye doctor for over 32 years. I found carnivore in 2009. So as of this recording right now in 2023, I am, I guess, 14 and a half years carnivore. And my passion just became trying to educate and trying to spread the word that this is sustainable, this is healthy. I am not suffering from scurvy. I am not suffering from malnutrition. I don't have weak bones because I'm low in calcium. my body gets everything it needs from such a bioavailable, densely nutrient food called meat. Ruminant meat is really healthy. And so I'm happy to have all of you new viewers here. I'm trying to be consistent. I started this in January where I come on live every week. And my goal is to just try to come up with interesting topics and to help as many as I can. Aside from this, I do my coaching groups. I do some limited one-on-one coaching, but my coaching groups are where it's at as far as talking with me every week and interacting with others who are trying to wrap their brain around this whole thing, just like many of you, because I know this is not easy. And I say this, the rules are simple. Execution is not easy. Why? We are bombarded all day, every day with triggers. And for any of you who have been in a bad state where you fall in and out of the ditch and you know better than, of course, to eat processed food, but somehow we end up face down in it again. And sometimes it's secretive because we're ashamed, and all of these things happen. And it's so difficult to do it without realizing that you really need to grasp that it needs to be abstinence. And so what? I'm not going to have chocolate. I remember what it tastes like. I know that sugar feeds cancer. You have to say, it's not that I can't have it. It's like I'm choosing not to have it. I'm choosing life. I'm choosing health. I'm choosing feeling great. I'm choosing waking up in the morning, springing out of bed, full of energy, no aches and pains, and loving life. That's what you have to embrace. Nothing tastes as good as that feels. So on that note, I will remember to go in and put the link for my groups and the link for the meetup coming up this Saturday. And I will hopefully also see you next Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining in.